Welcome to episode 4 of our video series where we rank the best roller coasters that opened in a specific year. It's time to do 2004, a year that Six Flags and Cedar Fair mostly took off due to very heavy activity in the first few years of the decade. Kinda like when you're a senior in high school, you put in work for 3 years and then you just ride that last year out. Still, despite their lack of participation, a total of 35 new roller coasters were built in the US. Okay, let's get to it. Here are the top 10 best roller coasters that opened in 2004. As always, the coasters on this list are ranked based on how they operated at the time of their opening. That is, if they became rougher or have closed or had modifications in later years, that will not play a role in how they are ranked today. We also only rank coasters that were newly constructed for the 2004 season, so you will not see coasters that were relocated and opened at a different park in 2004. Unlike the 2003 video, there are a couple honorable mentions for 2004. And while they might be family coasters, it's a type of coaster that is still very important to a theme park. It's what gives a park variety, and coaster lovers a step up to the big rides we all know and love.
That's what she said!
Many of us coaster enthusiasts likely wouldn't even be enthusiasts today if it weren't for them. The first honorable mention that didn't quite make our list is Wile E. Coyote Canyon Blaster at Six Flags Over Georgia. It now operates as Joker Funhouse Coaster. At 900 feet in length, you can classify it either as a long kiddie coaster or a short family coaster. But either way, it's a credit. And isn't that what really matters?
You whore.
And then there's Triple Hurricane at Legoland, Florida, which now operates as Coastosaurus, which is something that can happen if you've been sitting too long on a ride. For its size, Coastosaurus Triple Hurricane is a surprisingly fun Woody.
That's what she said.
And an underrated ride at Legoland, Florida. Alright, now to the real stars of 2004. It's not often that you'll see a Vekoma suspended looping coaster clone on a top 10 coasters list, but here we go. GAUNTLET at Magic Springs is actually one of the better ones. It probably has something to do with the redesigned wheel assembly Vekoma used to give this one a more comfortable ride.
That's what she said.
This Vekoma SLC was actually intended for Jazzland in New Orleans, but that sale never was completed and it ended up at Magic Springs. With a height of 109 feet and a maximum speed of 49.7 miles an hour and 5 dizzy inversions, GAUNTLET provides a fun, highly disoriented experience and is probably the third best coaster in Arkansas, behind X-Coaster and Arkansas Twister in the same park. Pro tip: if you close your eyes, you can picture yourself on an SLC that isn't in Arkansas. Splashing down at number 9 is Journey to Atlantis at SeaWorld San Diego. This totally counts as a coaster, despite what some others might say, yet still have it on their official coaster credit list. After SeaWorld Orlando opened its popular Journey to Atlantis water coaster in 1998, the San Diego park was like, hey guys, what about me? Am I gonna get like a ride? I don't even have a coaster yet. So that's exactly what happened. They emulated Orlando's success by building their own in 2004. And this one just had way more roller coaster than it had a water feature, which was pretty cool because, you know, like we needed a roller coaster and we already have enough water. We're surrounded by water. We're in San Diego. So yeah, just like a roller coaster would be great. The San Diego version also sacrificed theming for more thrills, which became the blueprint for future attractions at the park. Just look at that station. This version has 2 coaster sections with some really fun drops and bank turns, as well as a surprising vertical lift section. Overall, you get absolutely drenched on this coaster. And speaking of getting drenched, at number 8 we have CLEMENTON Park's TSUNAMI, which was renamed J2 after the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, and then once again renamed to Hellcat. But don't confuse that with AVALANCHE at Timber Falls Adventure Park, that was renamed to Hellcat in its later years. I guess being named after a natural disaster isn't the best idea. Anyway, both were built by S&S and designed by God himself. Hellcat is the longer, taller, and faster version of the two, but we're ranking it lower because it's more drawn out and less intense. When it opened, it provided a very nice ride for a mid-sized wooden coaster. Of course, it's now rough as heck and nobody would ever rank it this high, and unless they're into that kind of thing.
Kinky.
Dropping into number 7 is Half Pipe at Elitch Gardens. I said half pipe. The coaster is exactly what it sounds like. A U-shaped steel track resembling a half pipe. The single 2-car train is themed like a skateboard. Well, the park says it's a snowboard, but we don't know any snowboards with wheels. So, yeah. And the track is painted like flames. Perhaps they don't have an understanding of thermodynamics.
And heat can affect molecules. Watch, we're changing solid ice into liquid water.
Riders are arranged in a circular fashion with 8 per car. The vehicles are free spinning, which creates a unique ride each time, and it's the first of its type in North America, so that's something. Each bike drops riders 80 feet, and the ride reaches a top speed of 43.5 miles an hour, which is nothing compared to the world record for a snowboard, which is 131 miles an hour. Look at that. That's crazy. Here at ACN, we like to give you pointless facts. Moving on. Stealing number 6 is Revenge of the Mummy the Ride at Universal Studios Hollywood, also this park's very first roller coaster. Revenge of the Mummy starts out with a nicely themed queue and a dark ride section full of special effects before the mummy attempts to steal your soul, just like my ex. He then launches you at 40 miles an hour into darkness through a turn and drop filled coaster section, complete with an onboard soundtrack and illuminated mummy warriors with swords. Sounds dangerous. You then reach a dead end where a projection of scarab beetles attack the vehicle, which is then propelled backwards down a steep drop, navigates some more bank turns, and stops on a turntable that rotates at 180 degrees, positioning the vehicle forward again before the ride ends. While still mildly thrilling, Universal Studios Hollywood version is the low-budget version of Florida's, and a trend that continued with King Kong, Transformers, and the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Despite the name, it's a ride for daddies too, but easily the lesser of the two Revenge of the Mummies rides on this list. Sliding into the number 5 spot is the now defunct Avalanche at Timber Falls Adventure Park. This S&S wooden coaster designed by Alan Shelkey really showed what a god among men is capable of coming up with. The ride might have been small in size, but it absolutely hauled through its course, full of amazing ejector airtime and quick turns. From the moment you dropped off the 88-foot tall lift hill, it was non-stop speed and airtime. A unique feature was its triangle-shaped layout that navigated along the park's perimeter. Timber Falls Adventure Park closed Avalanche in 2017 and now no longer has a coaster. But you can just simply drive another mile down to Mount Olympus in order to ride poorly maintained wooden coasters still in operation today. Penetrating the number 4 spot is Silver Bullet at Knott's Berry Farm. And we have so much to say about this one. We love the coaster, but Knott's Berry Farm really ruined one of the most beautiful areas of the park, just to shoehorn in a full-size B&M invert. Reflection Lake ended up more like Reflection Pond. They moved the church across the street, and they just tore up a bunch of buildings all the way up to the front entrance. With its quirky and shallow first drop, and a vertical loop that's positioned high above the ground, it's one of the most controversial B&M inverts amongst coaster enthusiasts. If we were going to rank it against all in the US, we would probably put it somewhere in the middle. But Silver Bullet still provides a very intense ride with some elements not normally seen on other B&M inverts, including an overbanked turn and a tight upward helix. While the addition of Silver Bullet may have ruined one of the park's most charming areas, its cobra roll near the entrance gives guests an intimidating first impression of the park. And even 18 years later, Silver Bullet remains a strong supporting coaster in Knott's pretty terrific lineup. To start wrapping up this list, we have Revenge of the Mummy at Universal Studios Florida taking the number 3 spot. It's better than its Hollywood counterpart because it uses real fire effects, has an uphill limb launch straight into an injector airtime hill, and, of course, Brendan Fraser.
Hope you enjoyed yourself. I would have enjoyed this interview a lot more if I had gotten a cup of coffee!
One of the best parts of the Florida version is the infamous fake ending where the mummy kills a ride operator, sets the room on fire, and then launches you down into more drops and turns before the ride actually concludes. While we rank the coasters on this list based on how they operated in 2004, Revenge of the Mummy is still one of the best indoor roller coasters today. It even won 11 straight Golden Ticket Awards for Best Indoor Roller Coaster every year from 2008 until that particular award was eliminated after 2018. Galloping into the number 2 spot is Storm Runner at HERSHEYPARK, which is the third accelerator coaster from Intamin and the first to feature a series of inversions. Unlike the accelerator at Knott's Berry Farm that finishes off with a couple overbanked turns after the top hat, or Top Thrill Dragster that just drops you into the brakes, Storm Runner traverses a cobra loop, a heartline roll, and a flying snake dive, which really makes the coaster feel more complete than its predecessors. The only real downside are the poorly designed over-the-shoulder restraints, which we had a lot to say about in our video about Maverick. Storm Runner reaches 75 miles an hour, making it the slowest accelerator coaster in the US. But its relentless pacing and more complete ride propels it to the near top of HERSHEYPARK's incredible coaster lineup, as well as this list. Which takes us to the number 1 coaster of 2004, which is Thunderhead at Dollywood. It puts the wood in Dollywood. It's so good I could ride it 9 to 5. Aside from the occasional roughness, there really isn't anything not to like about Thunderhead. It features a staggering 22 turns, 32 crossovers, and a station fly-through. The track makes excellent use of the terrain, and the surrounding landscape is very beautiful to look at. After designing Wildcat at HERSHEYPARK, the roars at both Six Flags America and Six Flags Marine World, and Gwazi at Busch Gardens Tampa, Great Coasters International finally found their way with Thunderhead, and it continued that same formula for success throughout the mid to late 2000s. At 3,230 feet long, Thunderhead is one of the longer GCI coasters, and in 2005 and 2006 was ranked the number 1 wooden coaster at the Golden Ticket Awards. And not counting 2019 when it was ranked number 11, it has been in the top 10 every year since. We hope Dollywood continues to retrack it every few years to keep it just as good as it was when it opened in 2004. It's the only wooden coaster they have left. That concludes our list of the top 10 coasters of 2004, which was a year full of very good coasters, but nothing groundbreaking or impactful. Did any ranking surprise or upset you? What would you like to change in your own ranking? Let us know in the comments below. We'll continue to release a new video from this series each month, so if you're a fan of this type of content, please consider giving our video a like and our channel a sub. And, as always, thank you for watching.